كل نهار جديد يبعث معه أملاً جديداً لنرسم الرؤية ونصنع الإنجاز. كل نهار جديد يبعث أمجاد الأمس وطموح أمة تسابق الزمن بكل عزم وإصرار. لأجل عمان اليوم غاية وهدف. منذ أكثر من 50 عاماً من جيل إلى جيل. لأجل عمان الغد.
Bari no taia.
كل نهار جديد يبعث معه أملاً جديداً لنرسم الرؤية ونصنع الإنجاز. كل نهار جديد يبعث أمجاد الأمس وطموح.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oman International Drift Championship 2024 season. We are live here in Muscat, Oman, in the absolutely stunning Muscat Drift Arena. This is the 6th year of OIDC. Absolutely crazy to say that, but what a driver grid we had. We've got some previous champions, we've got some newcomers, and we've got some serious cars on the grid. But tonight, it's qualifying. We're about to kick it off for the first time with our Latvian driver, Egars Kroski. We also have the return of 3-time OIDC champion, Mr. James Dean. So James absolutely killing it all morning in practice, and it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on in that S14.9. But As I said, we're going to start with Egas in his Eurofighter representing Latvia. As we see him there sitting on the line. When I say Eurofighter, I mean kebab fighter. That's what he calls it. He owns the kebab factory in Latvia. Here we go for the first qualifying run of OIDC 2024 season. Big flick in from Egas. Not as fast as the judges want. You can see he's not getting deep in that zone. Obviously nerves coming into play. You know, when you're that first car, you've got all pressure on you. So it's going to be interesting to see what Egas can do to try and scrape back some points in this run. As we see him running the outer wheel right on that line. Lovely up to the wall, flicking it back. It's not the best run I've seen of Egas so far today, but it's not a bad one. It's a good score on the board as we see him come around for the last time and over the line. We've got 49 drivers representing 17 different countries this year, so it's going to be very interesting to see who will be named the 2024 OIDC champion. But before that, we're going to have to get through qualifying to get our battle grids for round 1 tomorrow night. So we see Egas now very tentative. That'd be the way I would describe that run there. He's committing in places but not committing all the way around, so it's going to be interesting to see what way our judges score that one. As we see the replay of the last corner coming up to the wall. A little bit shallow the wall, they're barely getting into that last box. Not a bad run. Okay, so up next, representing Finland, we have Juha Rintanen in this absolutely crazy GT86. Just about 1,000 brake horsepower, as he's telling me this morning, and Juha is absolutely flying around here. Look at this for a first zone, sticking that back wheel right on the line, exactly like our judges asked in the briefing, getting lovely and deep on the inside clip there. Now this is not a bad run from Juha Rintanen, as we see him absolutely smoking them tyres off the back of the GT86. Coming into the last zone now. Perfect again. I think Juha Rintanen is one to watch this weekend. He is here to make a statement. Absolutely amazing GT86, and I was talking to him this morning and I just had to laugh when I was like, oh, what power is it? It's just barely 1,000. I'm like, oh, just barely 1,000. It just shows you how drifting has come on over the few years. As we see Juha, look at that inside clip, putting the front bumper right on the white line, exactly where the judges asked him. This is a nice run from Juha Rintanen. So we see the end of Juha's run there, and then we will head back to the start line for our next driver, who is Daniel Magsamov. There, his Nissan Silvia S15, struggling a bit in practice this morning. Now some of the initiation he was finding it difficult, just like that. He's either a little bit shallow or too deep, so he was trying to go for a happy medium there, and unfortunately I don't think it really worked out for Daniel. Oh, and a little bit of a straighten there now as he transitions for the inner clip. Definitely a bit of a scrappy run, and just as I say that, he puts 4 wheels off, which indicates that is a 0. So yeah, unfortunately for Daniel, that will be a 0 on his first run, and we'll have to wait and see how he gets on in his second run later this afternoon. So we're moving back to the start line, and we will be going up next. It will be Dennis Miguel in his BMW E46. So we just see, this is the point from Daniel when it all goes wrong as he flicks into the outer zone and just looks like he'd no grip. The whole front just whipped in on him. I'm sure he won't be the happiest with that one, but he still has another run to try and put a score on the board. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how Daniel gets on. Okay, so we see Dennis. So yeah, Dennis Miguel is on the line in his new Corvette. 2 Corvettes on the grid this weekend. So yeah, this is the first one to take the track. How will Dennis get on? Absolutely lovely graphic scheme on that car. It's a beautiful looking car when you see it up close and personal, but it's not about how they look here, it's about how they perform. So yeah, Here we go, Dennis Miguel's first run as we see him throwing it in there. Nice little weight transfer on the power a bit early, which pulled him into the inside of the track, not getting as deep in that first zone as he would have liked to, but he starts to reel it back in now as he comes through the inner clip, pushing out wide all the way, just putting the back wheel right on that white line. So we see him not really getting out to the wall like the judges wanted. Not the best run we've seen of Dennis so far today. Yet again, maybe another guy just nervous at the start, and once they get driving they can shake off them nerves. We see Dennis taking it over the line, so it will be interesting to see what way the judges score this one here. See, he comes on the power just a small bit early, shoots him to the inside, has to reinitiate a second time by dragging the handbrake to try and get it back into that zone, salvage some sort of the points, but yeah, I'm sure the judges will be marking him down on that one. We see Dennis coming back into his own smoke, nearly getting lost, dropping a wheel there on that last transition. When he looks back in this run, I'm sure he will be he'd be a little bit upset with that one, unnecessarily dropping a wheel just before the finish. But still, will be a score on the board. Okay, so we move it back to the first of our local drivers representing Oman. It is Ali Al-Boushi, better known as Lalu. He told me last night, don't call me Ali Boushi, no one knows that name, everyone calls me Lalu. So here we go, Lalu leaving the line for his first run. Had a bit of a tough morning this morning. He broke a prop shaft very early on and had to go off to get another one, try and get it fixed. So limited practice for Lalu, but as you see, he's doing a good job carrying huge angle in that 180SX. Here the V8 absolutely screaming underneath the bonnet as we see Lalu now trying to get in a bit deeper in that zone. I'd say after the morning he's had now, he just wants to connect the dots, get a score on the board and try and figure it out in battles tomorrow. Lalu, one of them drivers, comes alive in the battles. He's an insane chase driver as we see him full throttle taking it over the line, all the angle. Give it up for Lalu. So we see the headlight on the 180SX giving us a little cheeky wink there as he comes through the first corner. As we see, yeah, the smoke from Lalu's first section just getting caught back up as he comes back through the crossroads there. Very interesting track that judges have met out this weekend. Kieran Hines, our head judge, he has designed a layout that basically can run 3 different competition layouts in one by just moving the clipping boxes. So yeah, obviously this year we're doing 3 rounds back to back, so there's not much time to be washing off all them beautiful white, yellow and blue lines. But enough of the track. We have Mr. Ahmed Daham, all the pops and bangs as he leaves the line, throwing it in. Ahmed Daham, a wealth of knowledge behind the driver's seat of that S14 as we see him absolutely hugging the back wheel right on that line, tucking it lovely for the inside clip. This is definitely going to be a high scoring run from Daham. He is feeling confident this morning. 1 or 2 small little issues with alternator just dropping voltage when the nitrous came into play, but him and his team worked tirelessly through the break and they got it sorted there as we see Daham putting the back wheel right on the line yet again, out to the wall and over the line. That's a very good run from Ahmed Daham, representing Jordan in that absolutely crazy S14. This car is just insane when it comes to anti-lag. You would not want to be standing close to it at all, but Daham, the tuner from the Middle East, absolutely killing it out there. Cannot wait to see what happens tomorrow in battles with Ahmed Daham. Look at that, the back wheel right on the line, exactly as the judges asked. Daham doing a very good job there. So we move back to the line and we have Mohammed Kusaid, and he's representing Kuwait in his Nissan Silvia S14. So Mohammed leaves the line for his first qualifying run as we see the flames banging from the wastegate in that S14. Oh, very tentative entry from Mohammed. He ends up very shallow, missing the outer zone nearly completely now. Needs to get that car back online to try and salvage this run, get as much points on the board. You don't want to leave it all down to your last run. You want to give yourself some bit of a chance. So as we see Mohammed now, transitioning very wide there and just unfortunately getting it all wrong in the last corner. He pulls out of it and drives off. So yeah, unfortunately that will be a 0 from Mohammed. So he has a lot of work to do on his second run. And will the driver from Kuwait be able to handle the pressure? I think he will. He was killing it in practice today. I feel like a lot of guys, once they're like, oh, we're live now and I'm being judged, that's when the nerves come into play. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mohammed gets on his second run. Okay, so we move it back to the line as we're just awaiting Nazir Mutari. As we see, he's just in the burnout box there now. The marshals are calling him over. Nazir Mutari in his 350Z. Another guy was having a lot of mechanical issues this morning. I seen that car was just up on 4-axle stands for majority of the morning, but it looks like the guy's got it sorted. As we see the smoke machine going off at the start line, not going to lie, I didn't know what that was there for a minute. That really caught me by guard. No, it's not. My apologies. So it's Zahar Al-Shahid, or Shaksi, as I mispronounce his name. My apologies, but yeah, we have Zafar throwing it in. Wild flick there, but getting it a little bit wrong at the start of that outer zone. So it will be interesting to see how Shaksi gets on in his 2JZ 350Z representing Oman. So we hear the absolute screams of that car. Has the back wheel right on that outer line now, doing a nice job through that outer zone. Not as deep out to the walls as the judges would have liked, but he's trying to salvage it for the last corner and just unfortunately putting the car a little bit too wide in the second last outer zone and over the finish line. So yeah, it's not the cleanest run from Zahar, but it's going to be interesting to see who gets on. It seems there, he did a big long handbrake drag on the opposite side of the track, and I think that was just what caught him. Maybe he felt he was coming in a little bit too fast, or maybe he just flicked a little bit too wild, but I think from that point he was just trying to salvage what was left of this run. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on in his second run. So yeah, you see Zahar there just dropping a wheel, possibly 2 around there. It won't be 0, but it will be a big deduction from the judges, so it's going to be interesting to see where he finishes up. Okay, so we move back to the start line. Representing Oman is Taruk Al-Shahani. Listen to the V8 in this car. This car sounds absolutely amazing as Taruk throws it in. Oh, maybe just a small bit wide, 2 wheels off, coming through the first zone there. Maybe getting a little bit too excited as he flicks in, now coming through mid-track, lining himself up lovely for the inner clip as he's pushing out wide, trying to fill that second outer zone. That's the driving I've been seeing all day from Taruk. As he comes out, brings it to the wall, flicking back. Here we go. This is what we came here to see. As Taruk Al-Shahani doing a great job, bringing it around the last corner and over the line. That's not a bad run. Maybe just a little bit scrappy on initiation, but definitely a good score on the board, and it's a good base to build for your second qualifying run. As we see him there in the first zone, yeah, I'd be confident enough to say that was 2 wheels off by how deep that 180SX was coming through the zone. But yeah, Taruk did a great job getting that car back online, doing absolutely anything he can to try and keep as many of them points. As the way our judging system works here is you start with 100 and it's up to you how many you lose the whole way around. So yeah, Taruk doing a great job. Okay, we move it back to the line and we got Mr. Clint Van Hout representing the Netherlands coming in that 2JZ S14, absolutely throwing it in, smoking the place out of it. This is a nice start to Clint's run as we see him locking up the front wheel, bringing that S14 in, lovely and tight, getting it on a perfect line. I think this could be a high scoring run from Clint. Clint is just getting stronger and stronger behind wheel S14. Had a good year in Drift Masters last season, and he's using this year's OIDC as a last test before he heads it back out to Europe again, as we see Clint bringing it over the line. That's a nice run from Clint Van Oort. We see Clint, look at that, carrying some angle all the way through. Just a little touch of the front brakes to settle the front of the car for that inner clip. Doing a very good job all the way around. If we want to nitpick, maybe it could be a small bit deeper in some clips, but for a first run, that's a good score on the board in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see what way it finishes up at the end. But yeah, Clint Van Oort representing the Netherlands, bringing it off the line there. Not a bad run at all. Okay, up next, representing the Lebanon, it is Mohamed Siab. Mohamed had a little bit of an interesting first lap this morning. He was doing a relatively good lap, and a lot of people in the grandstand were enjoying it, and then his driver's door flew off. But it didn't really fly off. He kind of dragged it for the rest of the lap, and have to give him commitment. The man just kept it pinned. He didn't lift whatsoever, even though there was no door right beside his shoulder. And him and his team then obviously had to work tirelessly to repair that door, to get it back on the car. Fiberglass door it was, so once they got it all patched up back on the car, he went back out, and he's been killing it ever since. So I'm really hoping I don't bring an old commentator's curse in here for him. But yeah, as we see what Mohamed is going to do on his first run. Listen to the screams of this car coming down, throwing it in. Nice initiation from Mohamed, as he's lovely and wide around zone 1, putting the back wheel right on that outer line, just like the judges ask, as we see him now tucking it in for the inner clip, pushing it around. This is not a bad run from Mohamed. Him and his team, after the hard morning they had this morning, will be absolutely delighted with this one, as we see him flicking it back, coming through the last section, out to the last outer zone, bringing it up to the wall and over the line. Maybe not as deep on the wall as we'd like to see, but look, yet again, this is only their first lap of round 1, so we'll go easy on them. Tomorrow night, when we go to battles, that's when it's going to get crazy. So yeah, we see Mohamed doing a good job. That's a very good first qualifying run. It gives you a lot to build on, so it will be interesting to see what sort of score the judges give him, and then Mohamed will know he'll be able to come out next time and push that bit harder. And I'm actually looking forward to it, because if that's his safe run, I cannot wait to see his full run. So up next we have, representing Ireland, it is Mr. Chris Brady in his R32 Skyline RB25 under the bonnet. Not many of them knocking around here, as we see Chris doing a great job now, putting it lovely and wide. Chris having a bad morning. He only got 2 practice laps in, and he sheared all the bolts in the drive shaft, tirelessly running around, got helped out by some local drivers, and now he's out here putting on a show. The Irish champion absolutely sticking it on the perfect qualifying line, as we hear that RB25 screaming underneath the bonnet. A little bit different than all the rest of the 2JZs we're hearing out here, but Chris Brady, an experienced driver, a wealth of knowledge, and do you know what? After the morning he had, I am delighted to see him do that run. Lovely initiation from Chris, as he throws that R32 Skyline. Look at that, perfectly on the outer line, just like the judges asked in the driver's briefing. Chris only running about 600 brake horsepower, so not the most powerful car, but not an underpowered car by any means. But yeah, Chris using all that power there now to do a lovely job, so fair play to him. Okay, so we move it back to the line. Representing Oman, it is Haitham Al Haididi. In the last few minutes of practice this evening, Haitham's car unfortunately had mechanical failures, but luckily Ahmed Daham had a spare car knocking around, so Daham gave him a lend of his car, relatively the same. One was a 15, one's a 180, both of them JZ. This car is lighter and more power, so It's going to be very interesting to see. And this is literally Hytham's first lap in this car, and he looks like he's been driving it for years. Absolutely pinpoint accuracy from the young Omani driver as he throws it around. Wow, I actually cannot believe, for a guy who's not done many laps, actually sorry, not done any laps in this car, brings it over the line, puts a score on the board. Big up to Hytham Al Haididi. So yeah, very lucky for Hytham that Ahmed Daham decided to bring 2 cars down this weekend. That's just everything going your way, isn't it really? Like, so it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on, and it would be very interesting to see if we could get maybe Ahmed Daham versus Hytham Al Haididi battle tomorrow with both Daham's cars. That'd be an embarrassing one for Daham to lose. Okay, so we move it back to the line, and we have Demir in his GT86. Absolutely flawless car. Looks unbelievable in person. These guys have both spent so long on their whole pit setup, liveries, the whole thing. They really look the part. But now it's not about looks, it's about the driving. So how will this GT86 handle as we see Demir throwing it in, and oh, something going wrong. I seen a spark underneath the car. Whether it was drive shaft failure or something, I'm not 100% sure. But unfortunately from Demir, that will be a 0. And that will leave a lot of work for him on his second run. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of work for Demir. It's going to be interesting to see what way it'll go for his second run. But Demir was absolutely killing it this morning in practice. Very, very good driving. I've never really seen this driver before today, and he definitely made an impression on me. So I don't want to see him go out like that, and I hope he's back out for round 2 or for his second qualifying run. Okay, we're moving back to the line. Up next, we have Hazza Al Husani. Hazza in this absolutely insane S14 representing the UAE. He is like nearly over 1,000 brake horsepower, fully carbon car. The loudest, most obnoxious sounding car I've ever heard in my life, and a crazy man behind the wheel. This car is basically been tested here this weekend to be shipped off to Drift Masters, you know, sending that car out to Europe next summer. So I definitely can't wait to see it out in Europe myself. And Hazza, an absolutely insane driver. The speed of him as he's come through there. Look at this. Front brakes locked up and absolutely smoking the tyres off that car. Coming back through his own smoke, nearly getting lost as he comes out to the wall. Bit of a handbrake drag now just to let the car settle as he comes into the last corner and out to the wall, over the line. And that's not a bad run from Hazza. That's a very fast run from Hazza in my opinion now, and he's only going to get faster. The young man from the UAE, an absolute insane driver, and going to be a very, very interesting watch to see how Hazza gets on this year in Europe. He says he wants to just go out and drive in different countries with different drivers. He says it's the only way you're going to get better is continuously moving around and driving with different people. And I actually couldn't agree anymore with him. So it's going to be very interesting to see him this season. But before we get to that summer season, we've got a full winter season here in Oman. So Hazza will want to make a statement and probably bring home that championship. Okay, moving back to the line, the second of our drivers from the Netherlands, it is Sebastian Fonten in his crazy JZ E36 BMW. Sebastian having 1 or 2 little issues this morning, a few clutch problems, little things like that, but him and his team are working tirelessly, got it sorted, and back out for qualifying. And look at this from the Drift Masters driver, perfectly sticking it on that back line. As we watch him now transition, not as deep in that inner clip as I know he would want, but Sebastian doing whatever he can to try and keep that car out on that wide line through the second outer zone as he brings it up to the wall. Lovely accuracy from Sebastian Fonten as he goes full lock all the way around the third outer zone, bringing it back up to the last wall run and over the line. That's a lot of smoke out the back of that BMW. He has met this Muscat Drift Arena and nearly disappeared. So very good run from Sebastian Fonten. Sebastian and his team definitely got that car working. There seems to be no issues with it at all. So fingers crossed he can get the hold up, and we'll get him into battle action tomorrow, because Sebastian's one of them drivers that just is insane in the chase position, and I cannot wait to watch it. So we're going to move back to the line, and it is Nazar Harbali representing El Salvador. Nazar not in his 350Z. He's changed it up this year. He's built a 180SX with a Boss S14 front. As unique as that looks, it looks unbelievable in person. Another guy, young driver, after building an insane car, and the reason he built it, he's going with his friend Hazard to Driftmasters. So this is literally his third weekend in this car. He says he's using OIDC just to feel out the car, learn it, and then when the season's done, it's a quick freshen up on body panels, and he's putting it in the container and he's sending it to Europe. So another car that I will be very excited to see how it turns out in Europe. But first we're going to see how he gets on in OIDC, and listen to the screams of this 180SX coming down. Nazar Harvali, an absolute wild man behind the wheel as he keeps a full tilt. Look at the speed of the young driver from El Salvador on the front brakes, and still picking up speed as we see him putting that back wheel right on the outer line. Flicks it back for the last outer zone, lines it up lovely. Look at this from Nazar. I think this is going to be a high scoring run. Brings it out to the wall. Wow, that was insane to watch. I was talking to him earlier on, and they were changing the gear ratio, and I was just curious because I was like, oh, you're fast and you're going well. His answer to me was, there was not enough limiter. He says he likes driving this car on the limiter, and he reckons that it's faster when it's up on limiter. So he knows his car better than me. That's the way I say it. So interesting to see how Nazar will get on. Very high scoring run there. So I would be fairly sure we will see him in battle action tomorrow. And for his third outing in this car, it's going to be an interesting one to see how he treats all them lovely shiny new body panels. Okay, we move back. It's the first of our Swedish drift brothers. It is Victor Jansu in his 2JZ M4 BMW. These two guys coming over here from Sweden, bringing over these two absolutely amazing machines, and the two of them are identical builds. We will see the second one in a couple of runs' time, but first we're going to start with Victor. Victor was... yeah, if I'm correct, Victor was flying today, and then it's the other brother that is he was struggling a small bit with gear ratios and things like that, which I was a little bit like, I thought they're identical cars, surely they can be the same, but hopefully the guy's got it dialed in there now on the brake, and it's going to be interesting to see how they get on as we see Victor coming for his first run, throwing it in a nice wild snappy initiation, getting lovely and deep into that first outer zone as we see Victor flicking back now for the inside clip, maybe just dropping one wheel there just before the inside clip, but does a good job to get that car back online. Not as deep, sorry, I jumped too early there, not as deep in that outer zone as he'd like to be. As we see him now flicking back for the last transition, lining himself up for outer zone 3, pushing hard. Will he bring it out to the wall and over the line? It's not a bad run from Victor. I'm sure he will want to tidy it up a small bit just to get a higher score, but yeah, absolutely crazy car that is. A lot of these drivers now also, especially the newcomers whose first time it is here in Oman, so these guys have been practicing all day. It was actually 6 hours of practice this morning is what they got, and yeah, as the day went on towards qualifying, obviously it got darker, temperatures dropped, so track temperatures dropped, so grip levels changed. So yeah, maybe just a little bit of a different track than Victor was expecting out there, and might cut him out in one or two places, but it'll be interesting to see how he gets on for his second run. Okay, representing Malaysia, it is Mohammed Zai Hamdan. Bullseye is he's known around the paddock. Bullseye, one of them nice cheerful guys, such a nice guy, he just brings a smile to everyone's face. He's just so happy to be here. He's this absolutely insane S15. So it's going to be interesting to see how Bullseye get on, killing it this morning in practice. So I really hope commentator's curse doesn't come in. Bit of a handbrake drag there now to let that car settle, maybe not getting him as deep into that outer zone as we see Bullseye now putting the foot down, as he transitions for the first time for the inner clip, washing a small bit wide there, keeping it in between the white lines though. Will he get it back out wide for the outer zone? Yes, he will, putting that back wheel lovely on that outer line. As we see him now coming back, not out to the wall, transitions for the last time, bringing it out yet again, back wheel right on that line and over the finish line. It's not a bad run from Bullseye. I have seen him do better today, so it will be it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. So you see the Malaysian driver now looking back on the replay, just there a little bit of a wobble there. It was like he kind of came off power and gave a little clutch kick just to get it going again. So it'll be interesting to see what way the judges will do that. I don't think it was a big straightener at him to be a 0, but it might be a slight deduction. And then the air, yeah, missing that clip completely at the wall, not getting out near it. I know the judges definitely will be penalising for that, but then bringing points back in with them outer zones. So it's going to be interesting to see how the judges score Bullseye on his first run. Okay, we move back to line. It is your 2023 OIDC champion representing Kuwait. It is Ali Maxid in possibly the fastest GT86 I've ever seen. And Ali Maxid getting it all wrong at the start. Maybe coming in a little bit too hot. Dropping 2 wheels in that outer zone. Definitely the judges will be penalising him for that one. Ali knows himself he's made a mistake, so he's going to have a perfect second half of this run if he wants to try and, you know, keep his championship fights alive again this year. As we see Ali now transitioning for the last time. Same again, a small bit wide on that last outer zone and over the finish line. Very interesting. Not the Ali Maxid we're used to seeing here today. You can see him there now throwing it in. Maybe at the initiation just there. Got a little bit too wide. Not sure what happened there, but it could be another driver getting caught out by these forever changing grip levels on this track. But Ali, a wealth of knowledge. He will tuck away some amount from that one run, go in, alter the car, and he'll probably come back out and leave me speechless. Okay, we move it back to the line, and it is Sultan Sahir Al-Bulshi. So let's see how Sultan will get on his first run, representing Oman. Another one of these local drivers. Insane car as well. This car, the building quality of this car is crazy. So how will Sultan get on his first qualifying run? I think our marshals are just letting the smoke clear from Ali Maxid. He made the whole arena disappear there, in my opinion, but yeah, we're just going to let the smoke clear off to make sure every driver gets the same track, you know, no advantage around here. And it looks like he's going to get the signal, maybe not. As I stand up and have a look out, all the smoke's blowing down to the left-hand corner, to the bottom corner down here. It's a little bit full, but the start line marshal gives him the signal. Sultan Al-Bulshi, as he leaves the line, listen to the V8 screaming in his, Sultan with a wild flick and an over-rotation, just getting it all wrong at the start there. Not sure what happened, but he's going to use the rest. And a spin again. That's very strange, would be the way I would put it. Sultan was practicing today, didn't seem to be having any major issues. I'm not sure if it's just nerves or maybe something going wrong, but that car looks like there's very little grip in the back of it. It looks like it's left a bit loose. You see him transitioning again there, hitting the cones, but Sultan is going to use this lap to just feel out the grip levels, try and get as much knowledge as possible from this run so he can go back into the pits. Him and his team can alter the car setup and hopefully come back out. But yeah, there's where it went all wrong for Sultan. Went wide, probably went too wide, and then just over rotated, and yeah, not the run he would have wanted for his first run. So it's going to be an interesting second run for him. He can really look like Sultan. It looks like he's attentively driving that car. Like, he's holding on for dear life. It seems like the back of it just wants to over-rotate at all times, which is obviously not ideal when you're trying to qualify, you know, in a championship that has so many champions in here. This driver's grade is absolutely insane to watch. But look, we're going back to the start line. It is another S15. Representing Kuwait is Salam Al Sarf, the 20-year-old driver. Just waiting there now for the track just to be reset, so a few cones have to be picked up and a little bit of tidying up after our last contender. But Salam Al Sarf will be taken to the track momentarily. Okay, so our start line marshal gives him the signal and away he goes. Salam coming down. Absolute V8 roaring underneath the bonnet at S15 as we see Salam throwing him big angle, putting the back wheel lovely and wide there in that outer zone as he transitions, lining up for the inner clip very nicely. This is not a bad start to the run from Salam as we see him. Oh, maybe just getting a small bit wrong there. That was 2 wheels, maybe 3. I'm not sure at the end of that zone. Since that there now, you can see it's after messing up his line. He ended up coming away too early, ended up very shallow, not near the wall, missing the last outer zone and the last wall run. So yeah, that will affect his score, but he will get my apologies. He will get a score on the board. So yeah, Salam Al Sarf. See here, this is where it just starts to go wrong. Halfway through the zone, dialed on too much angle, ended up just pushing it too wide. And then from there, he came too early, touched that clip too early, sends him to the inside, misses that last zone nearly completely and barely gets it. No, it doesn't get it into the last clip on the wall. So, yeah, a lot of work on the second run from Salam. Okay, we move it back to the line. Representing Sweden, it is Andreas Lilja in his Mark IV Supra. Believe it or not, one of 2 Mark IV Supras on the grid this weekend. Absolutely insane car, insane build. Very good driver. We could see he was taking away a lot of information today. Every lap, him and his team doing data logs, logging everything, changing setups to make sure they can find the best way of running this big car around this circuit. And I think we did, as we see Andreas coming down, throwing it in there now. A little bit wide just at the start, but he gets it back online for zone 1, pushing that Mark IV Supra right around, getting lovely for his inside clip. Listen to the screams of that JZ. Coming off power there, not sure what happened. See a little bit of a hop in the back of the car, but Andreas trying to keep that car on the best line he can, using all the lock in the lock kit there as he comes into the last outer zone and out to the wall. Not a bad run from Andreas. It's a good score for his first run, gets him a score on the board and kind of gives him the confidence to push a little bit wider next time. As we see the back wheel shuddering a lot in that car there. I'm not sure what it is. See a little jump going on. Whether it's like some sort of control arm or something's loose and maybe it's just slightly adjusting, or it could just be that's the way the suspension is in the Mark IV Supra. I'm not 100% sure, but Andreas doing a good job of holding that car and getting it over the line. Okay, we move it back to the line and it is the one, the only Benedictus Cherba. And unfortunately Benedictus having a very bad day, goes out to practice early this morning, has some engine trouble. He thinks it was engine failure, so I seen the guys in a garage here in the pits and they just changed the engine. And just before, when practice ended, I seen Cherba's car come back out of the garage with a new engine in there. He's had no practice. He probably doesn't know what's about to happen on this lap, but I can tell you one thing, he will be sending it. The Lithuanian driver is an absolute animal behind the wheel of this Eurofighter, and I'm rooting for him as well, because I don't want to see anyone come that far for their engine to fail in practice at round 1 on the first day. But luckily him and his team worked tirelessly all day long to get it going, as we see Cherba throwing it in. Oh, but just a little bit off power there now. It's going to be very interesting. I'm not even sure if the engine he put in was his engine, if he brought it with him, if he went and got another one here today. I didn't even get a chance to talk to the guys this afternoon. They just came straight into briefing there just before we went live. So I think the whole paddock is rooting for Benedictus Cerba here. You know, a lot of hard work today, and him and his team doing a great job to get him back out. I'm sure this morning they didn't think they'd see that car at qualifying, but luckily here it is. So it's just it just shows you never give up, especially in drifting. Never say never. You always fight to the last minute. But yeah, see there, Cerba, I don't know what happened. It's just like he let off power or something and just bogged down a small bit. But he's doing a good job for the second half of the run to get a score on the board. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Benedictus Cerba gets on. So as we see Cerba bring it over the line, we head back to our start line, and that is Samir Sabah representing the Lebanon. Samir in this absolutely crazy E36 BMW. This is a guy that's just got better and better and better. Did very well in the Emirates Drift Championship a few weeks ago, coming second overall. So he'll be here to try and make a statement with all the big drivers on the grid. And look at this from Samir, throwing it in absolutely lovely, right in the outer zone, lovely and wide, as he brings it back around now, flicking for the inside on the front brakes, nearly permanently, just trying to steady that car up, not locking the wheels, just putting a little bit of resistance in there to help him. Oh, and a big flame underneath the car. That's insane. I don't know what happened there. As we see Samir now just going a small bit wide in the last outer zone and bringing it over the line. Very good start to the run. Probably not the end he would have wanted, but it definitely will be a score on the board, and it will be interesting to see how Samir gets on in his second run later on. So yeah, this is just where it starts to go a little bit wrong for Samir. Maybe came away from that clip a small bit early, pushed him wide there, so when he tried to shoot it back on line, it just brought him a small bit to the inside, barely getting one wheel in that last clip. I know he won't be happy with that, seeing the head shake as he comes over the line, but it'll be interesting to see his second run. Okay, also representing the Lebanon, it is Hussein Misalami. Hussein, who has made the jump from an E46 BMW to a Corvette, and in my opinion, I think it's the best thing he's ever done. He's only done 2 weekends in his car. This is the third weekend. He said every lap is just experience and test, so we're all rooting for Hussein, one of the nicest guys on the grid there, as he's tentatively bringing this car around the track, just trying to get a score on the board. Oh, maybe watching a small bit too wide there in our zone 2 as he brings that Corvette up to the wall. Big handbrake drag as he transitions for the last time and into the last zone, lining up for that last wall run, that last clip, getting into the clip, but not as deep in the wall as we like to see. I've seen Hussein do a lot better runs this morning, but if this is your third day in a new car, I'm going to go easy on you. As we see there, yeah, look, small bit shallow at the start, filling the zone, lovely at the end, but just unfortunate the judges want you hugging that outer line all the way around. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. And then yeah, just outer zone 2, Hussein pushed a small bit too wide now, has to come back on the handbrake, front brake to try and get that Corvette back on line. Big handbrake drag in there for the last transition. So I don't think it's going to be a high scoring run, but it will be a score on the board. So it will be interesting to see what way it works out for Hussein. Alright, we move it back to the start line. Representing Oman, it is Ali Al-Shahani, the Bazooka, and if you don't know why it's called Bazooka, you will hear very shortly. This car sounds absolutely insane as he babies it through the chicane, nearly doing a roll and burn it out of the chicane there. It's going to be interesting to see what way the judges go with that one, but Ali getting it all wrong, missing the outer zone completely, really mid-track, or really on the inside there. The judges want to see him mid-track, but we see Ali now putting the foot down. Oh, there's a just, did he over-rotate? I'm not sure what happened there with Ali Al-Shahani, but that will be a 0. Not sure if a tyre came off the rim or something broke, but the left-hand rear wheel just looked funny as he came into outer zone 2 there, so it'll be interesting to see what happened with that. And sure, the Shahani team, I'm sure they'll get this car fixed up and get the bazooka back out for his second run. Yeah, it just looks like a tyre did come off the rim there for Ali. Whatever happened, maybe running pressure's too low, but we move it back to the line. I see Waqas Al Saud leaving the line in his Mustang. A very colourful Mustang, if I must say so myself. Waqas, a lovely guy. Out here, look at the hops out of this thing. He's softened up the back of that Mustang, definitely. Anyways, Waqas, another driver representing Oman, coming around here. V8 screaming in that Mustang as he skips his way out to the wall, transitions for the last time. Small bit of a wheel drop there just at the second last clip, but gets the car back online for the outer zone and over the finish line. So that will be a score on the board for Waqas Saud. But the hops out of that car in the back, and I wouldn't mind, it wasn't doing it as bad today, so I don't know if he just dropped the pressures or soften up the suspension or what he's done for qualifying, but hopefully it's not going to go against him in the judges' scores. We see him skipping his way around the track. It'll be interesting to see what way the judges will score that one. So we move back to the start line and we have Robert Babagulian in his Nissan 350Z. Another guy making his first trip out here to Oman, just figuring it all out, probably like the rest of the international drivers, trying to deal with the heat. So it'll be interesting to see how Robert gets on. As we see the start line marshal gives him the signal, and away he goes. So you can hear the V8 screaming in that 350Z as Robert throws it in. Lovely initiation, getting nice and wide in that first outer zone. Fully on the front brakes just to keep the rear of that car out wide as we see him now transitioning. Nice for the inner zone. This is not a bad run so far from Robert. Oh, and commentator's curse comes into play as he puts a wheel out wide. Now what can Robert do to try and salvage the rest of this run? Oh, very wide there as he transitions for the last time, and unfortunately getting it all wrong. Car snapping back in the other direction. He does a good job to hold it to try and salvage whatever's left of this run, but Robert is going to have a bit of work cut out for him on his second run. You see, the first half here was going lovely. It was just when I opened my mouth saying it was a good run, that's when it all started to go wrong for Robert. So you see a nice transition there. Yeah, just pushes a little bit too wide, dials on too much angle, ends up going a bit wider than he would have liked there, and then he had to straighten to kind of avoid the wall, and then from that point it just all went wrong. So yeah, Robert, another driver, is going to have a bit of work to do on his second run in qualifying. Okay, so we move it back to the line for the second of our Toyota Supras, and it is Riyad Al Musali. So we see him, another driver representing Oman. He just waits for the marshals just to tidy up the cones there from our last competitor, and we will be sending Riyad off very shortly. It's crazy, 2 Mark Supers on the grid this weekend. It's like some parts of the world these cars are getting very expensive, other parts they've been built into drift cars. So as we see Riyad coming down now, throwing it in a little bit wide there, gets it just maybe one wheel a small bit on the yellow line, but does a good job to hold it, dialing on all the angle now as he transitions for the first time, getting that car right in tight to the inner clip as he's filling that outer zone too. Lovely. This is not a bad run from Riyadh. As we see the Omani driver now flicks back. Oh, a small bit deep there for the second last clipping point as he comes into the last outer zone, recorrects the car, gets it back online, out to the wall and over the finish line. It's not a bad run from Riyadh. We see. So yeah, we see Riyadh now putting the foot fully to the floor. So yeah, we see Riyadh there now bringing over line. It will be a score on the board, but will it be a high one? I'm not 100% sure. We're going to have to wait and see. But we're going to head back to our start line now, where it is Nicholas Bartas, aka Nick Nack, the crazy kid from Latvia in his E36 BMW. This kid made a huge impression on me last year when I was out here at the Oman International Drift Championship. One of the best chase drivers I've seen now in a long time. Very, very aggressive, so it's going to be interesting to see. But before we see him do some chasing, we're going to have to see him qualify first. So that's the main objective tonight, is to get a score on the board, try and get as high in the qualifying. And what will Nick Nack do as we see him leave the line here now, flicks it in. Nice initiation from Nick Nack, not as deep as we would have liked to see him, but does a great job coming through now, carrying loads of angle for that first transition, tucking the front bumper right in tight to that inner clip as we see him coming back out now, filling that outer zone lovely as we see Nick Nack brings it up to the wall, transitions for the last time as we see it now out on that outer zone. This is a very good run from the young driver from Latvia as we see Nick Nack bringing it over the line. Wow. Definitely one to watch this weekend. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what way our judges score this run. Maybe Nick Nack not as deep in all the clips, but he definitely ticked all the boxes all the way around, so might lose some small points, but nothing major there. And definitely a good first run, something he can build off and push hard to on the second qualifying run here in OIDC. So as we move back to the start line, it's the second of our Swedish drift brothers. It is Linus Jansu in an identical M4 than his brother. Maybe the only difference now is Linus doesn't have a front bumper. One or two small little issues this morning. Him and his team are working, trying to get that car dialed in, and let's see how they get on. Huge angle as he carries around that outer zone, maybe leaving the zone a small bit early, but look at this as he flicks back for the first time now, nice and tight through the inner clip as we see him coming up to the second outer zone. He's in the zone, but he's not as deep as we'd like to see him. So you see him now coming back for the wall, transitioning for the last time. Can Yanis fill the outer zone? Yes, he can. A little bit of a straighten there, just coming up to the wall, but I don't think it was anything to worry about. He will be deducted points for not filling that outer clip, but yeah, it's not a bad run for your first run out in Oman. So we see Linus's replay here now, putting foot to floor. Not as deep on the wall either as the judges would like to see. Carrying a lot of lock, but I'd say if it was me now, I'd be trying to put a nice safe run in, put a score on the board, see where you rank up after the first runs, and then you know whether to push it or if you're in trouble. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how our Swedish drift brothers get on and what score Linus gets at the end. But we move it back to the start line. It is Mohammed Al Albi representing Oman in his JZ350Z. You can see the flames shooting from underneath it. As he puts foot to floor, keeping that 350 sideways through the first zone, flicking it back now, not as tight on the inner clip, but he does get the wheels in there. So we see him now coming around zone 2 as he lines it back up for the wall, not really getting out to the wall. He did get a wheel in the box there, but unfortunately since that wall run it all going wrong, and just getting a small bit wide on that last run. So it'll be interesting to see what way Mohammed's run will be scored. I don't think it'll be a 0. I think it will be a score on the board, but yeah, 1 or 2 mistakes there from Mohammed Al Albari. So it'll be interesting to see how our judges score that one. So we see Mohammed's replay here now. Absolute screams of that 2JZ under the bonnet of that 350Z. Yeah, just there as he transitioned from the wall, he was shallow there, and that just messed up his line of transition and for the last corner. So Mohammed doing a good job to try and hold it on line, so it'll be interesting to see. But we move back to the line, and we have Hamza Namham representing Jordan in his BMW E46. So we hear Hamza leave the line. Another car absolutely screaming, huge backfire out the wastegate as he gets it going, but unfortunately washing wide. I think that was only 3 wheels off, so which will be a heavy deduction, but can he salvage the rest of this run, try and claim some points back? As we see him now coming into zone 2. Same again, just dropping 1 wheel there, zone 2. Not the best run we've seen from Hamza. He definitely was putting some earlier ones in, or some better runs in earlier, so yeah, just getting it all wrong as he comes around the last corner and bringing it over the line. I'm just going to wonder, is it these forever changing grip levels? Like, this track will be completely different than these guys were practicing on earlier on today. You know, there was a 2-hour break before qualifying, so in that 2 hours the temperatures here dropped some amount, which would mean track temperatures dropped ridiculously. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how drivers are going to deal with it, because the later we go on, it's only going to drop more. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what way Hamza does on his second run. As we see him bring it out to the wall and over the line, but yeah, probably 1 or 2 little mistakes there that will come back to bite him. Okay, we move it back to the start line. It is Ahmed Al Amri representing Oman, another driver that made a huge impression on me last year. Absolutely insane in the chase position, as we see him throwing it in lovely and wide from Ahmed as he brings it through outer zone 1 mid-track, like the judges asked, transitions back, gets the front of that car lovely and deep into the inside clip. And now we see him, maybe just putting 1 wheel off in outer zone 2 as he comes back out for the wall, getting that rear bumper out to the wall, touch and go, transitions for the last time, nice and wide in that outer zone as he comes up to the last wall run, the last clip. That is not a bad run from Ahmed Al Amri. Another local driver that definitely is here to just, let all these international guys go, okay, look, you can come over, but us Omanis, we can drive. So yeah, going to be really interesting to see how he gets on. I cannot wait to see him battle tomorrow night. I was chatting to him this morning. The man was really confident. He said he did a lot of testing in the off season, and he's just really happy with how the car's performing. So it's all down to the driver now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what way Ahmed Al Amri gets on his second run. So we move back to the start line, and we have Iba Fala representing the Lebanon in his BMW E46. My apologies, it's Ihab. As we see Ihab throwing it in there now, nice and tight on the inner zone, lovely and wide coming to that outer zone. This is a beautiful line from Ihab as he brings it around. Maybe just not enough to get out to the wall, and transitions too early, which unfortunately puts him into a spin, and that will be a 0 for him on his first run. A lot of work to do on the second. So yeah, just looking through my list here, we have a few drivers with a 0, 4 or 5 drivers with a 0 on their first run. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what way these drivers will approach the second runs and how they will get a decent score on the board to try and put themselves inside that top 32 bracket and make them safe for battle tomorrow. And then, yeah, just all going wrong in that transition, the last transition there for Ehab. So we'll see how he approaches it. Okay, we move back to the line, and there is only one driver left, and that driver does not need an introduction. It is arguably the best drifter in the world, representing Ireland. It is Mr. James Dean in his S14.9 2JZ 900 brake horsepower. New livery for this season out here in OIDC, and look at this from the machine. Absolutely pinpoint accuracy as he puts the back wheel right on the line, front bumper exactly where he wants to be. James and his spotter are asking a lot of questions in the driver's briefing today just to make sure they knew every bit of information the judges want. Running the spoiler along the wall through his own smoke. This is going to be a high scoring run from James Dean as he comes around for the last time, out to the wall and over the finish line. And a huge round of applause from the crowd here in the Oman Drift Arena. But yeah, what a run from the machine. Did we expect any less? Probably not. James, as I say, arguably one of the best drivers in the world, 3-time OIDC champion and champions of many, many other championships. So it is an honour to have him back out here with us for the 6th year of the OIDC. And James, one of them drivers, will be coming for that 4th championship, and with runs like that, he'd be a hard man bet. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how James gets on in battle action tomorrow. Okay, so that is our first runs done. So we will move it back to the end. So yeah, we will be moving back to our first driver again, reverse grid order. And we'll be starting to go on the second runs momentarily. Absolutely insane first half of qualifying here at round 1 of the OIDC 2024 season, and I can only expect the second runs are only going to get better.
كل نهار جديد يبعث معه أملاً جديداً لنرسم الرؤية ونصنع الإنجاز. كل نهار جديد يبعث أمجاد الأمس وطموح أمة تسابق الزمن بكل عزم وإصرار. لأجل عمان اليوم غاية وهدف. منذ أكثر من 50 عاماً من جيل إلى جيل. لأجل عمان الغد.
Bari no taia.
كل نهار جديد يبعث معه أملاً جديداً لنرسم الرؤية ونصنع الإنجاز. كل نهار جديد يبعث أمجاد الأمس وطموح أمة تسابق الزمن بكل عزم وإصرار. لأجل عمان اليوم غاية وهدف. منذ أكثر من 50 عاماً من جيل إلى جيل. لأجل عمان الغد.
バリのタイヤ
كل نهار جديد يبعث معه املا جديدا لنرسم الرؤيا ونصنع الانجاز. كل نهار جديد يبعث امجاد الامس وطموح امه تسابق الزمن بكل عزم واصرار لاجل عمان. اليوم غايه وهدف منذ أكثر من 50 عاما، من جيل إلى جيل، لأجل عمان الغد.
バリのタイヤ
نهار جديد يبعث معه أملاً جديداً لنرسم الرؤية ونصنع الإنجاز. كل نهار جديد يبعث أمجاد الأمس وطموح أمة تسابق الزمن بكل عزم وإصرار. لأجل عمان اليوم غاية وهدف. منذ أكثر من 50 عاماً من جيل إلى جيل. لأجل عمان الغد.
バリのタイヤ。
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to round one of the Oman International Drift Championship. So I'd like to apologise, we had some technical difficulties in the first runs, but I can confirm I do now have qualifying scores. So I think the easiest way to do it is as each driver comes, I'm just going to give the score their first run. There was a little break in the system bringing it from the judges down to me, but we got that fixed on the break there. So we are back to the line for his second run. It is Egras Krogas. Egras got a 74.3 in his first run, so a bit of work to do on the second as we see him throwing it in a small bit early, missing that first outer zone completely. Not the ideal start he would have wanted to his first run, but we see him tucking it in very nicely as he brings it around. Not too deep, but getting one wheel in that second outer zone as he gets it out to the wall, transitions for the last time, bringing it into zone 3 as he comes around the last corner and over the finish line. So yeah, scrappy start to the run, but a good finish for Egras. So he's got a 74.3 in his first run. It'll be interesting to see what he gets on his second. As I wait for the judges' score to drop in here now in front of me. As you see. No judges' scores dropped in. We must be continuously having technical issues, so we will post the scores of the second runs after this qualifying. Unfortunately, I'm not near the judges to try and fix it, but look, we move it back. It is Juha Rintanen who has scored a 91.7 on his first run, a guy who is on a mission this weekend and absolutely killing it here on this second run, as we see Juha bringing it around out to the wall, lovely and deep. This is a nice run from Juha as we see him transition, absolutely perfect, putting that back wheel right on the outer line, filling that last zone as he comes around the corner and over the line. That's a very good run from Juha Rintanen. So yeah, Juha got a 91.7 on his first run, and unfortunately I'm still having technical difficulties here, so yeah, I will not be able to get scores the second run. So what we will do is we'll be posting them on all the OIDC official media straight after qualifying, and you will get to see the guys' scores then. So yeah, unfortunately just for now I just have the scores of the first run. So as we watch Juha's Rintanen's wall run there, absolutely lovely, and foot to floor, look at that pinpoint accuracy. I think Juha Rintanen will be one to watch this weekend. Okay, up next is Daniel Maximoff. Daniel scored a 0 on his first run, so one of the first drivers that has it all to do in the second run. A lot of pressure. Will he be able to hold it? As we just wait for a bit of smoke to clear from the Muscat Drift Arena. Okay, so Daniel gets the signal from our start line marshal, makes his way through the chicane and off for his second run. This is going to be very interesting to see what he does here now to try and overcome that 0, and unfortunately getting it all wrong from the start, absolutely cutting the first zone completely out of it, really limiting his chances of, you know, trying to score high on the second run. So we'll be watching here. Yes, zone 2, not getting it at all. Oh, unfortunately just all going wrong from Daniel. He does get a wheel barely inside the 2 clipping points, so how will he get on with the third zone? A small bit wide, dropping one wheel, but he holds it sideways and brings it over the line, and a very scrappy run. Oh, and I can confirm I just have scores dropped in on my system here. So Egard Krogus got a 59 on the second run, and Juha Rintanen got a 93 in the second run, so both guys will be very happy with that. And a 50.3 from Daniel there, so it's going to be interesting to see where he finishes up at the end. You know, a 0 on your first run's not where you want to be, and then 50 on your second. Definitely he'll be kicking himself when he looks back at the replay on them first 2 zones, missing them completely. Okay, so we move it back to Dennis Miguel in his Corvette. Dennis scored a 67.3 in his first run, so how will he fare out on his second? And away he goes, Dennis leaving the chicane, flicking that Corvette. Nice initiation there from Dennis. As I say, a 67 on his first run, so a small bit of work if he wants to guarantee him spot in the battles tomorrow. And Dennis doing a nice job now as he makes it through the inside clip, putting foot to floor in that Corvette, filling outer zone 2, absolutely lovely as he comes back to the wall, blinded by his own smoke, flicks it back into clip 4, around the last outer zone as he comes out to the wall for the last time. That's not a bad run from Dennis Miguel. So a 67.3 in his first run. How will he get on his second? So we just watch back on Dennis's replay here now. Will it be enough to improve on 67? Oh, I don't know. Like, he's touching the clips, but maybe not getting as deep as the judges would have liked. Or as you were told, as we see our graphic come up on the screen, and it is a 76.7 for his second run. So it is an improvement, but will it be enough to get him in the battles tomorrow? Okay, we move it along to Ali Al-Bushi. Lalu, as he's more commonly known around these parts. And Ali Bushi got a 72 on his first run, so how will he get on his second run? As we see Lalu leave the line in his V8 180SX. Coming down now, nice initiation from Lalu. Flicked it a bit early, but now it's after dragging him a small bit in. Does a good job to get that car back on the wide line through that first outer zone. As we see Lalu now coming around, filling zone 2. And getting nice and deep out to the wall. This is not a bad run from Lalu. As we see in transition for the last time, maybe just going a small bit deep. But he holds it out, brings it over the line, doing a good job there is Ali Al-Bushi, or Lalu as he's known. So a 72 in his first run. Did he do enough to improve on that? We may wait for the judges' scores to drop in, and he does. He gets a 74 on his second run, so it is an improvement for Lalu. So we'll just have to wait and see, does he make it into battle action tomorrow? Okay, up next we have Mr. Ahmed Daham. Ahmed Daham scored a 91 on his first run, so we can really say he'll be safe for battle action tomorrow. A good confidence booster for Daham, so he will be pushing hard on this second run, and I for one cannot wait to watch Mr. All the Pops and Bangs. As you can see it coming down the straight, big flick, huge angle for Daham, and he over rotates. Oh, Ahmed may be pushing that a little bit too hard, knowing he had the safety net of the 91, so that will be a 0 for his second run, and I know Ahmed, he will not be happy over that one. He definitely had better in him there, so yeah, unfortunately it'll be a 0 for Ahmed Daham's second run. Okay, we move it back to the line to Mohammed Khurshid, another driver who's on a 0 on his first run. So let's see how he gets on his second. All the work cut out for him here. So how will Mohammed get on? Will he be able to hold the pressure? As we see him clipping a cone, big flame out the bonnet at S14. Throws it in very early, which is after bringing him completely to the inside of the track. Maybe Mohammed was just concentrating on getting a score on the board and didn't realise where he was on the run-in, but he does a good job getting it back online through the inner clip. Now stomping on the front brakes, but not deep enough. Completely missing outer zone 2 as he brings it up to the wall. Little bit shallow on the touch going to the wall, which is going to bring him to the inside. Oh, has to just go on the handbrake to avoid going off the inside of the track and bringing it over the line. 0 on the first run, I don't know, it was a very shallow run is what I'd say. He was shallow all around there, Mohammed, so it'll be interesting to see what way the judges score this one. And a 31.7, so he does put a score on the board, but will it be enough? It's going to be a long way for him as he watches the rest of the grid come out, and we'll see if we'll see Mohammed Khurshid on battle action tomorrow. Okay, up next we have Zahar Al-Shoksi, another driver on a 0 after his first run. So, oh no, my apologies. He scored a 24 in his first run, so a very low scoring run, but a score nonetheless. So we just wait for him to arrive to the start line. Obviously he's just out in the burn. Oh no, he's not in the burnout box there. Obviously maybe just something with the start line. We see our track marshals are out with the sweep brush, maybe just cleaning off all the rubber that the cars are throwing as they leave the line. A lot of rubber been dropped on this freshly resurfaced Muscat Drift Arena. So yeah, the driver's telling me the new surface all through the arena, there's a lot of grip out there, and the sticky soft tyres are obviously putting a lot more down, so it'll be interesting to see what way they get on. So yeah, this track is only going to get grippier as this season goes on over the next couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see. As we see our marshals there now just giving it a sweep, just a quick little clean up there, making sure it's safe for all the drivers. Okay, so it looks like our marshals have the start line cleaned up, and we will go with Zahar Al-Shahaksi. Second run, so yeah, he scored 24 in his first run, a low scoring run, so another driver with a bit of work to do, try and get a little bit higher up that qualifying order and get himself safe into battle action tomorrow night here at the OIDC 2024 round 1. So we can just see that 370Z has just gone back to rewarm his tyres. Just been sitting there for a minute. We'll give all the drivers a same advantage. So okay, so here we go, away for his second run. All the bangs coming out of that car as we hear Zahar coming down the straight, throwing it in very wild, barely keeping two wheels on, putting the foot to the floor to try and keep that Nissan on the track as he transitions around. Coming out for outer zone 2, lovely and deep in outer zone 2. Oh, maybe just stalling the car a small bit, dropping the wheel as he brings it back to the wall. Transitioning for the last time. Oh, and a big straight in there. Not sure what happened as we see it all start to go wrong for him as he comes around the last corner, outer zone, and over the finish line. Yeah, definitely not the run Zahar would have wanted. So will it be enough to improve on his 24? Wait for the judges' score to drop in. And he does improve, but just barely, a 37.3, so it's going to be a nervous way for Zahar there to see if he makes it into battle action tomorrow. Maybe that's where it all kind of went wrong, when the car snapped back the other way to like semi-reinitiate, which just threw him wide there, and it was just a battle of mistakes from there on in. Okay, so we move back to the start line. It is Tarouk Ashahani, and Tarouk got an 84.3 in his first run, so nice scoring run as we see him do it. Nearly rolling burnout out of chicane, throwing it in nice and wide, hugging that outer line as he fills the outer zone coming through now. Tarouk transitioning back, doing a great job there on the inner clip. We hear the screams of that 180 SX as it passes by me. Slight drop of the wheel there as he comes through zone 2, lining up for the wall. Nice and deep on the wall though from Tarouk as he transitions for the last time out wide for the last zone and over the finish line. So an 84.3 in his first run. How will he get on his second one? What way will the judges score it? So we see an 80.3, so he doesn't improve, so he will stay where he is with his first run, and then we move it back to the start line. It is Clint Van Hout from the Netherlands. Clint got an 85.3 in his first run. How will he get on the second run? The Dutch driver clips a cone coming out of the chicane. Big flick thrown in a huge angle is Clint. So we see the smoke bellowing from the back of that S14. Absolutely lovely first half of this lap by Clint Van Hout. We see him now just on nearly an ideal qualifying line. Clint and his team obviously done one or two little changes, rubbing the back of the car off the wall there. That's exactly what we wanted to see. So we see Clint now coming around the last section, lining up for the wall again and getting it out there. That's a good run from Clint Van Hout. So an 85.3 in his first run. How will Clint get on in his second? And it's a 92 for Clint on his second run, moving him up and more than likely keeping him safe for battle action tomorrow. So he is going to be delighted with that one. So 92 for Clint Van Hout in his second run. Okay, we move it back to the start line. It is Mohammed Siab. And Mohammed scored an 88.7 on his first run. So a nice score. Gives him a little bit more room to play around with. So it will be Mohammed to take on this crazy round one layout for his second qualifying run, as we just wait for some of Clint's smoke to clear from the arena. Absolutely destroyed a set of tyres in that run he did, and it's exactly what we wanted to see. Okay, so Mohammed 88.7 on his first run, leaving the start line for his second. How will he get on? Hear the screams of that E36 coming down the straight, throwing it in lovely and wide. Nice first zone from Mohammed as he comes mid-track exactly as the judges want, transitioning lovely for the inner clip. Can he keep it in between the white lines? He does a good job there not to drop a full wheel, as we see Mohammed now bringing it out, coming up for the wall, getting out there, flicking back. Oh, maybe transition a small bit early, which has pushed him to the inside of the track. He has to kind of stall up to try and keep that car on the outside, but Mohammed doing a relatively good job and keeping that E36 between the white lines and over the finish line. So Mohammed scores an 88.7 on his first and an 84.7 on his second. So no, not an improvement. He will have to stick with his first score in qualifying tonight. Okay, up next we have Chris Brady. Chris scored an 80 on his first run, throwing it in wild. Listen to the screams of that RB25. Not many of them on the grid this weekend. In fact, it's the only one. And Chris Brady doing a great job controlling that R32 Skyline. So yeah, an 80 on his first run. It's going to be interesting to see what way he scores it. But this is looking a lot better from Chris Brady as he tucks the back wheel right on that line. Nice transition, nice and deep through the second last clipping point, filling that last outer zone as he comes around the last corner, bringing it out to the wall. A brilliant run from the Irishman. So you see, watch this wild initiation from Chris Brady, throwing it in. Doing a good job there now of putting that R32 Skyline right exactly where the judges wanted. Chris getting very few laps this morning in practice, so showing the skills of the current Irish drift champion. He's well able to hold his nerve in the big pressure scenarios. So as we wait for Chris's second run to drop in. And it's a 91 from Chris Brady. Huge improvement on his first run. The Irishman's going to be absolutely delighted after the hard day he's had today. So we head back to the start line, and it is Haitham Al Haididi in Ahmed Daham's car. Haitham scored an 82.7 in his first run. Just waiting for a bit of Chris Brady smoke to clear before we send Haitham off for his second run. Haitham in the borrowed car for Ahmed Daham, having some engine trouble just at the end of practice this afternoon. So luckily for him, Daham had the spare car there, and it was actually lighter and a little bit more power than his car, so that's a win in my eyes. So we see Haitham coming down 82.7 on the first run. What's he going to do? Oh, not as deep in clip one as we're expecting from Haitham, as he puts foot to floor to try and get that car back online, nice and tight through the inner clip. As we see Haitham now flicking back, a small bit wide in outer zone 2, lost in his own smoke as he comes up to the wall, flicking back for the last transition, lining up for the outer zone. Look at the smoke bellowing out the back of that 180SX. That's a good last corner for Haitham, but yeah, one or two little mistakes, but it is only his second lap in that car, so we have to go easy on him, I suppose. Haitham, a young driver and a lot of potential of being a star in the future. This kid can definitely drive. Excited to see what he's going to do in battle action tomorrow. Will he improve on an 82.7? I don't know. It's going to be close, it is. So we're just waiting for the judges. No, he doesn't. It's a 79.7, so Haitham will stay where he is as we move it back to the start line. Another driver on a 0, and it is Damir, yeah, unfortunately getting it all wrong in the GT86 in his first run. Not sure what happened, but he made it back out. Maybe him and the team have done some improvements to try and get a better score on the board. So as we see Damir just waiting for Haitham smoke to clear, and then we will be sending him off. Not sure why we got a replay there for a split second, but we're back live again. So yeah, a nervous way for Damir sitting on that line, knowing he has it all to do and only one run. Well, the time for talking's over. Here we go. Damir is leaving the line in this absolutely amazing GT86. So here the screens are coming down the straight, throwing it in big angle. Getting nice and deep in that first zone. This is more like the driving we've seen from Damir this morning now. As we see him transitioning really tight on that inner clip, doing exactly as the judges asked. This guy knows if he's one run to do it, he better do it right. Oh, what happened there? Ended up 4 wheels off as he come to the wall. I'm not sure exactly what happened there with Damir. Was it 4 wheels off? He was very quick off and on if it was, so we'll have to wait for the judges' score to come in. But yeah, just the second half of that run, all going wrong from Damir as he came to outer zone 2. I don't know what happened. It's like the whole car just completely went off track. Be interesting to see. So here's where it just starts to go wrong. Like it gripped up, he had to lock up there. I'm not sure what happened. He had to lock up to avoid going into that wall. That's what happened there. So yeah, unfortunately from Damir now. It'll be interesting to see how the judges score this one. So just having, I think we're having more internet trouble. My computer's froze a small bit here, so we're going to go back to the start line. Up next it is Hazza Azani. And Hazza is on an 81.3. Listen to the roars of this S14. Hazza, the madman behind the wheel, absolutely pedaling this S14 as hard as he can around this Oman Drift Arena. Hear the bangs. My commentary booth nearly vibrated as he went by, so I can't clip the wall. I think he did there. It has a, if he didn't, he definitely was very close. absolute wild and crazy run, but that's exactly what we want to see. Touching the wall again as he brings it over the line. Look at the flames coming out the back of that car. Wow, huge run there from Hazza. Like, I can confirm our previous car, Demir, he scored another 0, unfortunately, on his second run. So yeah, that would be 2 zeros from Demir. So we watch Hazza's replay here. Absolute shooting crazy flames out the back of that car. It's going to be interesting to see how Hazza gets on and what way the judges score him. And it's a 91 for Hazza. It's a nice improvement for him. So we will be sure we will see Hazza in we'll be sure to see Hazza in Battle Action tomorrow. Sorry, my computer's freezing up here, but the graphics on the screen are working, so I think I might just go off that from now. Right, we move it back to the start line, and it is Sebastian Fonten. Sebastian is currently sitting on an 87. It's a nice score for your first run. Sebastian, unbelievable driver. He's drove all over the world, and it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on out here. Knowing he has a decent score on the board, he can push that a little bit harder in the second run, and he's one of them drivers, Sebastian. He loves to throw in backwards entries and a bit of flair, kind of give the people what they want. So as we see Sebastian leave the line, huge angle on the initiation, putting that back wheel right on that outer zone as we see Sebastian now coming up for the first transition, tucking in lovely on that inner clip, putting this car exactly where the judges want to see it. So we see him now coming up for the wall run, getting the back of the E36 BMW right on the wall. This is going to be a high scoring run from Sebastian Fonten. He is coming for that top step. Told me this morning he's not here to play around, he's not here for fun, he's here to win. I love the confidence like that in a guy. But a brilliant run from Sebastian Fonten. 87 on the first run, I think possibly. But I am only a commentator, I'm not a judge. In my eyes, it seemed like a better run. It was a lot cooler, and yeah. Hopefully it'll be an improvement on his second run. As we see a 93.7 coming in for Sebastian Fonten. That is going to make the Dutchman really happy as he heads back into the pits. Most definitely be seeing Sebastian Fonten coming in for Battle Action tomorrow. Okay, up next, it is the crazy build of Nazir Harbali. Nazir got a 91 on his first run, so he knows he's sitting in a good place. What can he do on the second run as we see him waiting for a bit of Sebastian's smoke to clear off the track. So yeah, Starling gives a signal, Nazir is away. So you see this show, it's not shooting flames, it's shooting sparks. That's absolutely insane coming down as we see Nazir now absolutely pedaling this crazy 180 SX. Not sure if the sparks underneath or something rubbing or what's going on, but there was a lot of sparks there at one moment. But yeah, a nice run from Nazir as he brings it out to the wall. Transition for the last time, a little bit of a wobble. Just, something gone wrong. He was having fueling issues. He was telling me this. Just at random times, his fuel pump would just lose a bit of voltage and get a bit weaker. So he said he was hoping it would hold out for the 2 runs of qualifying, and he'll change the pump out this evening. A 91 on his first run, to be a 0 on his second run, unfortunately. But I would say a 91 will keep him safe for Battle Action tomorrow. So we get ready to go back to our next driver, which is Victor Jansu. Victor got a 68.3 in his first run. The first half of our Swedish Drift Brothers here this season in Oman. So yeah, we see him leave the line. Big flick, huge aggression. This time he is getting deep. Victor here to prove a point. So we see him. Listen to the screams of that BMW. Telling me this morning they're just over 900 brake horsepower, so plenty of power inside it. Absolutely amazing looking cars. So yeah, 68.3 for Victor. Will he improve? He's doing all the right moves early to improve it. Can he hold it there after that last transition? Doing a good job now, bringing the car over the line, out to the wall. Nice from Victor. And Victor gets a 68 in his first run. He does improve. It is an 87 or 83.7. So yeah, big improvement there for Victor, which should push him up into battle action for tomorrow. And it'll be interesting to see how he gets on there, making his OIDC debut. Okay, we head back to the start line, and it is my boy Bullseye. Bullseye got a 76.3 in his first run. Oh, wrong graphic came up there. It was Victor again. So as we see Bullseye throwing it in, 76.3 in his first run. How will he get on his second run? He's starting off good here now, as we see Bullseye. Big clutch kick there, getting that car moving again after the wall run. Doing a good job there now to slow the car down, coming into outer zone 2. As we see Bullseye coming up, lining up for the wall, getting out there, transitioning back. Nice job through the second last clipping point. Filling the outer zone, maybe a little bit too wide now, one wheel drop. But yeah, Bullseye bringing it over the line. One or two little mistakes, but not a bad run overall. So Bullseye gets a 76.3 in his first run, and he gets a 76 in his second run, so he may stick with his second score. So yeah, we will see Bullseye. Okay, so we move back to line. It is Ali Maxeed. Ali Maxeed getting it wrong in initiation the last time. Uncharacteristic mistake is what I would use to describe it. So yeah, Ali got a 67.7 score on the board, but this is a man now, don't forget, who is your current OIDC champion. So he definitely has a point to prove, especially with drivers like James Dean back on the grid. And look at this from Ali Maxeed. Absolutely lovely and wide through the first zone as he transitions back, perfect on the inner clip. This is more like the Ali Maxeed we're used to seeing. The driver from Kuwait absolutely peddling that GT86, bringing it out to the wall, transition back, pinpoint accuracy on that transition, filling that outer zone yet again on the white line, through the last clip and over the finish line. That's the Ali Maxeed we were expecting to see on the first run. So yeah, he's definitely going to be happy with that one, and I would expect a big improvement on score. So yeah, 67.7 on his first run. What will he get on his second? And an 87.7, so it is an improvement for Ali Maxeed. He will be happy with that. And we should see him in battle action tomorrow. Okay, so we move it back to the start line, and it is Sultan Al-Bushi, I think. No, I'm not sure there now. I can't really see with the lights. It is Sultan. And Sultan, another driver, scored a 0 on his first run. So a lot of pressure on his second. If you remember, Sultan came in and just completely over-rotated by doing something very similar to this. Oh, flicked very early, bringing him very inside. I think Sultan was just more nervous about spinning again that he forgot where he was on the run in, and ends up on the inside, has to straighten to avoid over rotation. This is not a good run so far from Sultan, so it'll be interesting to see what way the judges will score it. Oh no, and it gets it all wrong on the last transition, which will mean double zeros for Sultan Al Bulsi, which will end his weekend there, but we will see him back next weekend for round 2. Okay, so our next driver is oh no, not Samir Sabah, my apologies. It is Salam Saraf, and he scored 44.7 on his first run. So another driver with a good bit of work to do in a second. A lot of pressure it is there for these drivers, you know, especially the young guys. A lot of nerves, everyone's looking, they know they're on the big stage, they know they've got a lot of big drivers on the grid beside them. Let's just see what way Salam can handle the nerves. So we just wait for our track marshals, fixing some cones there. So yeah, here we go. Salam leaving the line. Big flick in, brings him very shallow. Nearly missing that outer clip completely. See what he can do now as he comes up for the first transition. Lines himself up, filling the inner clip anyways, doing a good job there. Now will he be able to stall the car? Yes he can. Slows it up from going off track, holds it. Can he bring that S15 out to the wall? Not as deep on the clip as we'd like to see. Bit of a handbrake drag there now, just so he can line up for the last outer zone, over through the last clip and over the finish line. Not a bad run from Salam, but is it enough to improve on his 44.7? And he does. It's a 69 on his second run, so interesting to see where that's going to put him at the end of qualifying, if he'll scrape into that top 32 bracket to make it into battle action tomorrow. But we're going to head back to the start line, and it is Andreas Lilja. It's not Andreas Lilja. It is Benedictus Cherba. So Andreas Lilja scored a 79.3 tomorrow on his first run, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets in tomorrow. Cherba with a 71.3 in his first run. The only lap he got in since he's changed his engine this morning. Huge credit to him and his team. The never die attitude. And this looks more like the Cherba we're used to seeing here now. Pinpoint accuracy, putting that BMW exactly where the judges want. As he puts foot to floor, coming in for the last transition. Filling all the outer clips, filling all the outer zones. Coming up to the last clip of night now. How can he do it as the replay starts early just before he comes over the line? But that was a good run from Benedictus Cherba. So yeah, Cherba 71.3 on the first run. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on the second run. So we wait for the judges' scores to drop in. You can barely see the start line with the smoke after Cherba's run there. But yeah, we move it back. And sorry, score just drops in. It is an 83.3 for Benedictus Cherba. He is going to be delighted with that. Right, so we head back to the start line. It is Samir Sabah. Samir scored an 80 on his first run. So can he improve? Fresh off a podium from the Emirates Drift Championship up in Abu Dhabi, so it'll be interesting to see. Does that give him a confidence booster coming into this weekend? See Samir throwing it in. Huge angle, filling that outer zone. trying to do anything he can to get more points in that 80 to try and just push himself up a little bit higher in the qualifying order. As we see him doing a great job in these outer zones here, coming up for the wall run, transitions for the last time. So we see Samir filling the outer zone yet again, coming up to the last clip and over the finish line. Wow, what a run from Samir Salva. So yeah, 80 on the first run. Will it be enough to improve? So an 84, he does improve. That's a good run there from Samir Sabah. Okay, so we head back to the start line. It is Hussein Misalani. Hussein's on a 64, third day driving his new drift car, the Corvette. It says every lap is just more and more experience. So let's see how Hussein gets on. Can he push himself up that qualifying order a little bit more? We see our start line marshal gives him the signal, and Hussein is away, throwing it in there. Doing a nice job there now. Still a little bit tentative. You can see from the outside this guy's really just getting used to his new car, and rightly so. I'm sure it's a handful to drive, but Hussein's doing a great job. Can he hold that there? Maybe dial on a little bit too much angle. Does a good job though not to over-rotate, to keep a score on the board, and brings it over the finish line. So it'd be interesting to see what way the judges score Hussein's second qualifying run here. And he does improve a 68.2 on his second run, so he is going to be delighted with that on his second day out. Sorry, my apologies, third day out in his new car. Okay, up next we have Bazooka. It's Ali Al-Shahani. Ali on a 0 from his first run. Tyre came off or something happened down that bottom corner, but Bazooka now on a very shallow line. I think he's just concentrating on getting a score on the board, but with these high scores creeping in the second round of qualifying, that mightn't be enough to get you into battle action tomorrow. So as we see, taking the cone clear out of it, just foot to floor, making all the smokes, pops and bangs. Where that car goes, it's going. That's the theory there. So be interesting to see. 0 on his first run. How will he get on his second? We see Ali there now, absolutely not lifting whatsoever, blowing them back tyres clean off the car. So 0 on the first run, 49.3 in the second run. Will it be enough? We may wait till the end of qualifying to find out. That's a nervous way for Ali. Okay, up next is Wokas Sood. Oh no, it's not Wokas. Oh no, it is Wokas' car. No, my apologies, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing list there. It is Wokas Sood. Wokas is currently in 11th with a 56, so how is he going to improve? The Mustang, I wonder, is he like hardened up small bit? That Mustang was hopping all over the spot in his last run. As we just wait for Ali Al-Bushi's smoke to clear off the track. Wokas coming down, not getting that first zone at all. So, and a big over rotation. He has to nearly like drift off the way. That'll be a fine line with the judges if that's a 0 or not. But if it's not a 0, he will be heavily penalised for that, getting it all wrong. on that first transition in the middle section there, as we see Wokas now. Bring it around the last zone and over the finish line. Yeah, not the cleanest run from Wokas this afternoon, so be interesting to see what way this one goes for him. So Wokas got a 56 on his first run. What will he get on his second run? He gets a 22.7, so yeah, heavily deducted for that huge error in the middle of the track. So unfortunately, he'll have to sit with his 56 and see how he gets on. Okay, so we're heading back to the start line, and we have, or we should have, Robert Babaguling. And Robert scored, where's Robert on my list here now? Robert scored a 41.3 in his first run, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on his second. Throwing it in, nice, but just very shallow coming through that first zone. As you see, a huge snap. Oh no, you could nearly see that over rotation was happening before he even transitioned. All the way to that 350, just kicking around, and unfortunately for Robert, that'll be a 0 on his second run. So, yeah, he'll have to stick with his first run of a 41.3 and see does that get him into battles action tomorrow. Okay, so we head back to the start line. It should be Riyadh Al-Masabi, and Riyadh scored a 68 in a Toyota Supra on his first run. So how will Riyadh do on his second? So we see our marshal bringing him up to the line. Yeah, again, a few cones just be fixed up there after Robert's last run. So once our track is ready to go, we'll be sending Riyadh for his second run. 68 in the first. Can he improve? The ball is in his court. Okay, so Riyadh is away for his second qualifying run. Huge snap to angle as he puts it really wide, maybe just dropping one wheel or very close to it through that first zone. So we see him now carrying huge angle back. So he flicks, getting it lovely through that inner clip is Riyadh. And we see him now absolutely on an ideal line. The judges are going to be liking this one. Riyadh out to the wall, not afraid of marking that Supra whatsoever as he transitions for the last time and bringing it over the finish line. What a run from Riyadh. And I'm no judge, but I would think that might be an improvement on a 68 that he got in his first run. I like that run anyways. I thought it was a good one. One or two small little mistakes, but yeah, nothing too major. As we see, watch this now. Tuck in the front of the car, lovely through the inner clip there. This wall run for me, putting the back of the car right out there on them concrete blocks. No fear of that wall whatsoever from Riyadh. So, just waiting for Riyadh's second score to come in. Riyadh gets an 81 on the second run, so a huge improvement on his second run. He's going to be delighted with that. Okay, so we head back to the start line. It is the young Latvian, that is Knick-Knack. Nicholas scored a 90.3 in his first run, so it'll be interesting to see what Knick-Knack can do to push himself higher up that order, currently sitting in 7th position. As we just wait for some of Riyadh smoke to clear from this Muscat Drift Arena. Not that windy out here tonight, believe it or not, so smoke's taking a small bit of time to clear, but obviously our track team making sure all drivers get the exact same track conditions each time. So Knick-Knack gets the thumbs up and away he goes. 90.3 in his first run. How's he going to get on this second? Nice initiation from Nick Nack. Young driver with years of experience. So we see him now coming through for the first transition. Lovely through the inner clip as Nick Nack stomping on the front brake, holding that car exactly where he wants it to be. So we see them now coming through, out to the wall, flicking back. He says, oh, will he hold it? No. Nick Nack putting on well too much angle on the last transition, and unfortunately it all goes wrong for him there. So Nick Nack will have to settle with his 90.3 in his first run, because it's actually going to be a 0 on his second run. An incomplete, and I know that young man, he's a perfectionist, so he'll be kicking himself over that one. But as I said on his first run, Nick Nack's one of them guys that comes alive in the battles, a really aggressive chase driver, so I'm very excited to see how he goes tomorrow. So as we have the second of our Swedish Drift brothers, Linus leaving the line. Sorry, caught me off by guard there. He came out that quick. Linus got a 65.7 on his first run. How's he going to do in his second run? He's moving fast anyways. Putting in some whopper space around this track. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what way the judges do as Linus comes in for that last transition. Flicking it back nice and wide. Doing a good job as he brings it out to the wall for the last time. Will it be enough to improve on a 65.7? I don't know. It was a very fast run, but you know, he wasn't like very deep in all the clips. He was leaving zones early, so little things like that will knock off your score the whole way around the lap, which will bring your total a little bit lower there. But look at that, throwing huge angle on. I actually thought he over-rotated. But no, Linus doesn't improve. It's a 46.7, so yeah, he's going to have to stick with that 65.7 on his first run and see how he gets on. Okay, so as we move it up, it's Mohammed Al Albri. Mohammed got a 41.3 on his 41.3 in his first run, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Oh, just getting it all wrong. And the initiation there, not getting that 350Z out sideways. The car looks skipping and hopping. Not sure if there's something wrong in the back of that car or what's going on, but yeah, Mohammed's doing absolutely anything he can to try and hold it there. The Omani driver, not near that clip on the wall, just very shallow. It's not, he's not putting the car where he wants, he's just going where that car wants to go, so it's going to be affecting his final score completely. Will it be enough to improve on a 41.3? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. As we see Mohammed's replay here now, and his score drops in, it's an 18.7, so no, Mohammed's going to have to stay where he is with that 41.7 on his first run. Okay, so we move back to the line. It is Hamza Naham, and he scored a 38 on his first run. Thrown in a little bit early, messing them up, missed the start of the zone, pushed them wide at the end. Can he get on the front brakes to try and bring that car back online for the inside clip? Doing a good job on the inside clip. His Hamza, as he fills up outer zone 2 now, trying to get that E46 BMW back on the qualifying line, transitioning for the last time, and just running very wide, 4 wheels off, which will in fact be a 0, and you can nearly hear the anger in his throttle control there as he brings the E46 back on the track. So yeah, unfortunately that will be a 0 from Hamza, and he'll have to settle for his first score of a 38. So yeah, we will move it back to the start line, and it will be Ahmed Al-Amri next. And Al-Amri scored an 81.7 in his first run, so another driver that just comes alive in the battles. Absolute so much aggression in the chase position, so I'm excited to see what Al-Amri can do there tomorrow. But you have to make it through qualifying first. So yeah, 81.7 for Al-Amri. representing Oman. As you see our start line, Marshall just walking up, having a quick look there. Maybe something might have fell off or something we might have missed on the live stream. Making sure that the track conditions are equally and the same for all drivers, so it's a credit to them. So we just wait now to see if our track is clear and we can get Ahmed Al Amri sent off in his S15. So yeah, I'm just standing up having a look out the window here in our trackline marshal. So just tidying up one or two little things on the circuit. As soon as he gets back into position, we will be sending Al Amri for his second qualifying run. A nervous weight sitting there on the line for the Omani driver. 81.7. He should be fairly safe for battle action tomorrow, but I know Al Amri, he wants to get higher up to prove a point. Just to let all the international drivers know, go, hey, you know, the Omani guys can drive too. So flash of the lights to the start line marshal there from Al Amri, and away he goes. Run number 2 for Ahmed Al Amri. Scream the car coming down the straight there. V8 absolutely roaring. Al Amri on a nice line now, putting the back of the car exactly where the judges asked him to. So we see him transitioning for the inner clip. Absolutely smoking the back of the rear tyres off the back of that car. I actually paused for a minute there because I thought Al Amri might have washed too wide. Brings the back of the S15 out to the wall. This is not a bad run from Ahmed Al Amri. So you see, look at that rear wheel on the outer line and bringing it to the wall again. That's a nice run there from Ahmed Al Amri. Will he improve on an 81.7? Oh, if he doesn't, I don't know what the judges want. That was a nice run in my opinion. As we see him barely slowing the car down, just keeping the foot in 90% of the run, doing a great job of keeping that rear wheel on the outer line. As we see him, and he does improve. It's a 91.3, pushing him up that little bit higher and getting him into battle action tomorrow. So yeah, we will see Ahmed Al Amri back tomorrow representing the Oman. Okay, so we've got 2 drivers left. Up next, it's Ihab Falah. Ihab is sitting on a 0. It's a nervous way, especially when you're the second last driver. You know there's not much behind you, only James Dean, and he is definitely not on a 0. So yeah, Ihab throwing it in, leaving that outer zone very early. As we see him now just having to stall the car up a small bit, trying to keep it on track. Screams at that E46 BMW, tucked in on the front brakes there, just trying to tuck that car in. Lovely. So we hear the screams, gets it out to the wall as he transitions for the last time, pushing out. This is the part where he over-rotated. He's not going to make the same mistake again on his second lap. Out to the last clip and over the line. So yeah, it will be a score on the board for Ihab, but is it enough to put him into the top 32 for tomorrow? We just watch Ihab's replay here. See the way he's like consistently on the front brakes there, just absolutely holding that car all around. He gets a 77.3, so it's a decent enough score for him. Will it be enough to put him into battle action tomorrow? We may just wait till after our last run to find out. And last but not least, it is James the Machine Dean. 3-time OIDC champion representing Ireland, a 94.3 in his first run. What can he do to improve on that? Throws it in on huge angle, does James. Putting the back wheel right on that outer line. S14.9 looking absolutely amazing in his new livery. So we see James now smoking the Oman International Drift Arena out of it here as he comes through out to the wall, brings the back of that car right to the wall. Pinpoint accuracy on the transition and also a full throttle, no lift whatsoever. The commitment that takes and the skill, but we would not expect anything less from a driver of the standard of James. Arguably the best drifter in the world, and I think he would agree with me in saying, how does that not prove it? Huge run there from James Dean. Huge round of applause from our audience here in the stadium, and he improves to a 96.7. He's going to be happy with that. The machine's going battling tomorrow. James Dean's here for that 4th OIDC championship, and you know, with driving like that, I don't know who's going to stop him, but anything can happen in battle action, and that's where we'll go tomorrow. Twin battles. So we will be back live tomorrow afternoon for battle action. Make sure and join us. We're going to have some insane driving. So as we wait to find out our qualifying results, I'm not 100% sure if it's going to pop up on my screen here. If it doesn't, make sure and check out all the OIDC social medias, Instagram, Facebook, the works, and you should see our top 32 bracket very, very shortly. I know the judges are very eager to get it posted out tonight. A lot of the drivers want to be preparing for tomorrow, so yeah, as soon as they know, you guys will know as well. But look, from me, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. What a qualifying session, what a start to the Oman International Drift Championship 2024 Season 6. We're back with a bang. I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure and tune in for all the battle action.
سعيد جدا بكل ما أرى، هذا الجمال، هذا التنظيم، هذا المضمار الرائع، وهؤلاء الأبطال وما يقدموا هنا في مسقط أرينا. حلمت يعني سهلا مثل ما يقول يا أخي، أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بك في بلدك الثاني يا أحمد، يعطيك العافية. Thanks for everyone for coming, thanks for being part of this amazing round, the first round of IDC 2024. Inshallah we'll see you tomorrow. The doors open at 2 p.m. and the race starts at 4:10 sharp. So be here. Let's have all. I don't want to keep the excitement for myself or for Ahmed as well. We want to share it all. Let's enjoy the race, and it's gonna be a twin battle. So everyone, see you tomorrow, inshallah. Signing off. I guess we're gonna sign off the day, the night actually. خلاص. Exactly. It's over. But we want to shout out for Mike, the commentator of the live stream. Mike, great job. Thank you, Mike. Thanks a lot, Mike. Thank you so much. شكرا لكل الجهود الجبارة، لكل الجنود المجهولين، شكرا لكل من يعمل خلف الكواليس ليكون الحدث بهذا الجمال. يعطيكم العافية. إلى اللقاء. تصبحوا على خير. تحياتنا لكم أحمد داموس وسالم مرحبا، ونشوفكم على بإذن الله تعالى بكرة.
كل نهار جديد يبعث معه أملاً جديداً لنرسم الرؤية ونصنع الإنجاز. كل نهار جديد يبعث أمجاد الأمس وطموح أمة تسابق الزمن بكل عزم وإصرار. لأجل عمان اليوم غاية وهدف. منذ أكثر من 50 عاماً من جيل إلى جيل. لأجل عمان الغد.
バリのタイヤ。